Welcome to Get Real with Alexis Jones. On this podcast, we'll dive into real relationships with real people guided by the wisdom and perspective of some of the most seasoned voices in our community, our beloved seniors. Each week, we'll unpack the joys, challenges, and lessons learned about love, family, friendship, and everything in between. This is a space for heartfelt conversations, eye-opening truths, and powerful stories that will inspire and challenge the way you think about relationships. We're keeping it honest, unfiltered, and deeply meaningful. So settle in and let's get ready to get real. Let's jump in. Welcome to another episode of Get Real with Alexis. Today, I'd like to take a few minutes to honor my son Herman's memory. Herman is 40, means forever 46 because he passed at 46 years old. But actually, today is his birthday. He would be 48 years old. And I just want to share a few memories and some pictures with you. There are two memories that come to mind right now that I'd like to share. Almost everyone who knew Herman would describe him as being laid back, subdued, easygoing. He was, however, not that when he was a baby and when he was a child. Herman was allergic to sleep. I could not get him to sleep. He would not take naps during the day. I remember at preschool, I would visit him, just pop in, and all the children would be asleep, everybody except for Herman. He'd be playing with his feet or whatever he could get at his hands to entertain himself. And it was the same way when he was at home. He bored so many holes in the wall when I asked him to go to his room and take a nap. Anyway, I used to walk the floor every night trying to put Herman to sleep. I had a good friend who was also his godmother. She decided to spend the night with me. She heard me complaining about him never sleeping. So she came over and she ended up walking the floor with him all night as well. Herman was an equal opportunity offender. He could not sit still in elementary school at all. Teacher after teacher complained that Herman would not sit in his seat until he got to 5th grade. That was our first year in Atlanta. I got no complaints from his 5th grade teacher, Miss Barganier. I will never forget her. She found out that all she needed to do was not require Herman to stay in his seat. You know how some people just need you to sit a certain way, walk a certain way, talk a certain way? They need that. It may not be the best thing for you, but it's what they need. So teacher after teacher needed Herman to sit in his chair, just sit straight in his chair and do his work. Herman couldn't do it. His feet were all over the place. When he got to Miss Barganier's class, she let him sit sideways, upside down, and on the floor if he needed to. And Herman got his work done, and there were no more complaints about Herman rolling around in his chair. He was instead rolling around on the floor. So I remember visiting his classroom once, and all the kids were in the chair. Not Herman. He was on the floor, and he was as happy as a lark. Miss Barganier didn't need him to be in a chair. She needed him to be in a place where he was successful. I think Herman was the most active toddler ever, the kind of toddler that made it really difficult to get a babysitter. He reminded me, do you remember the cartoon character? I think it was a Bugs Bunny series, and there was a cartoon character on there called the Tasmanian Devil. The Tasmanian Devil would enter a space, and it looked like he moved incredibly fast, and because he moved so fast, he created this tornado-like vortex as he devoured everything in sight. So I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly how Herman used to move. He would devour everything around him. He broke so much stuff in my house, and then he ate everything that looked like food. That's why I call him the Tasmanian Devil. The last thought I want to share about Herman in celebration of his birthday. Again, this is when he was a toddler. And I may have shared this story before, but I happened to read, I don't believe it happenstance, but for the sake of argument, I happened to read an article in the newspaper when Herman was a toddler, and it was called Heaven's Special Child. I think the fact that I love to write poetry attracted me to this particular poem. Once we discovered the World Wide Web and the internet came on the scene, I began searching again for that poem. I could not find it. I mean, over 40, 45, 46 years, I could not find it until Herman passed away. Herman passed away, and that poem came to mind. And I remembered a few of the lines, but I didn't know the whole poem, and I wanted the poem to include in the program. So I didn't think I would find it because I had searched so many years, but I decided to search one more time, and I found it. On the first search, I entered Heaven's Special Child, and the poem came up. It appeared, and I could not find it up until this point. So I'm going to read that as I close. But I strongly felt like the child described in the poem was Herman. I believe God was trying to tell me that Herman was going to be special, that he was going to be different. And he was. It was his innocence. He was misunderstood. He was rarely influenced by peer pressure. Herman had a huge heart. He was influential. He was a gifted musician, and he learned quickly if he was taught the right way. He took lessons to learn to play the viola, and he was classically trained. But he picked up other instruments like the piano and the guitar, and he just started playing them. He was thoughtful, very thoughtful, and protective of people in their feelings, and very, very giving. That was his love language. He loved to give. Herman was mature beyond his years. He was either hanging out with older people or with children. He never really hung around the ladies or the guys that were his age. He loved children and they loved him. His best friend Ronnie, who was also, as Herman calls him, his mentor and boss, he said to me one Sunday, and it just brings me closer to Herman. But anyway, I always give Ronnie a hug every Sunday. And on this, I think it was last Sunday, he said, you know, I think about Herman all the time, and Herman made me a better person. Herman made me a better person too. Herman was like that. If you would let him, you would become a better person because of him. So I'm going to read that poem. Now, let me tell you something. The poem that I discovered in the newspaper, Cleveland Plain Dealer, I'm from Cleveland, was entitled Heaven's Special Child. I changed the words. It was written by an anonymous writer, author. I don't know who wrote that poem, but I changed it a little bit for the program, and I'm going to read it to you. I changed the title to Heaven's Special Gift, and I changed a few of the words, but the meaning is still the same. A meeting held quite far from earth. It's time again for another birth. Said the angels to the Lord above, this one will need much love. His progress may seem different. He'll be gifted, strong, and independent. He'll require and give loving care to all the folks he meets down there. He'll run, why walk, work hard, and play. His thoughts at times quite far away. In many ways, he won't conform, never known to do the norm. Oh, let it be careful where Herman is sent. We want this life to be content. Please, Lord, find the family who will do this special job for you. They will not realize right away the leading role they are asked to play. But with this one sent from above comes stronger faith and richer love. And soon they will know the privilege given in caring for this gift from heaven. Their gentle giant, who may seem adrift, is heaven's very special gift. That describes him. That describes Herman. He was. He was not just special to me, he was special to the world, to whoever he met. And so today, February 16th, I honor his memory. I call his name. I say his name often, and I remember him with love in my heart. Thank you for allowing me to share memories and to honor my firstborn son with you today, which would have been his 48th birthday. This is Get Real with Alexis. I'll see you soon. Bye.